coming down in 3, 2, and 1. Sidney Crosby. It was the summer of the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was the summer of Kyle Dubas. It was the summer of Erik Karlsson, and all eyes are on your team to kick off the season. How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with it. It's for a different reason than maybe other years. I mean, there's been a lot of turnover, like you said, and coming off of last year where we just let it slip there late. It was disappointing, but we should be a motivated group because of that, and then because of all the changes, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious. The night you flew in, I guess, to meet with Dubas, is that not true then?
No. So what happened was he was coming to visit, and I had just got back from vacation, and it just happened that I was coming back into town for a day or two before leaving again, and they had said that he was going to the practice rink. So I just happened to be there at the same time and had the opportunity to meet him. But it wasn't like it was really last minute. Like
You've rolled your eyes a lot at me over the years. That was a good one.
Yeah, I didn't fly in. Like, it was actually, the way it worked out was perfect. I was literally home for like an hour. He happened to be going to the practice rink, so it worked out well. I could go, meet him and say hi. And at that point, I, nothing was for sure. I think he was just trying to check things out, get a lay of the land, and take a look. So it was far from, being permanent, and it just worked out well. It was nice to get a chance to talk to him, and I didn't know at that point, but I was glad I had the opportunity to meet him.
What was the most interesting thing he either asked you or said to you?
It's hard to pick one. I think he was just trying to see where I was at, just with what I thought, with the season. It was pretty fresh at that point, and I think, as people in hockey, everyone has their own opinions, and you're not there, you're not in it. But I think he just wanted to see how I felt and where I thought, the team was at. And I think coming off the season that we did, obviously it was so disappointing, and I still felt like we were pretty competitive, and for the most part, we were pretty good. We struggled in our division against, the Islanders and Carolina. I think we lost every game against those two teams, but you take those games away, and we were right there. And once you get in, anything can happen. You saw Florida. So as tough as it was, I was still pretty optimistic about our group and thought we weren't far off. So I don't know how he took that, but he seemed pretty encouraged too, and seemed to see the same way.
How do you see Kyle Dubas as your general manager? You've had a number of general managers. When you started, it would have been Craig Patrick, who was the general manager, Ray Shero, Jim Rutherford, etc. Yeah. How would you compare Dubas to all the other managers you've had?
Well, I think, I'd say he's probably like the most new age when you think of a GM, and just with all the analytics and all the development stuff that goes into an organization. Obviously being a part of the Leafs, there's lots of opportunity to add to staff, and you look at their, every staff really, training staff and medical and development, everyone. It's a huge organization, and they really had every opportunity to kind of build that, and he was a big part of that. So it's just cool. Like, for me, I've seen hockey evolve. You go from one strength coach to three, and all the sports science and all the development roles and player development and everything that goes into that. So I think he's somebody who is constantly trying to add to that and be ahead of the curve. And I think he's brought that approach. Not that the other guys didn't, but I think that's been something that's really been his specialty from coming from there.
We always focus so much on what's different. This has changed. This has changed. This is different than when I broke in. But from your point of view, like, what is the one constant in your hockey life? Whether it's training, whether it's whatever it is there one thing that, going back to my first game in Rimouski to, last year at the end of the season, this is non-negotiable. I always do this. This is the same.
Yeah. I think you just got to learn. I mean, you got to learn, you got to evolve. So that's how I look at it. I mean, there's things that, I believe in that helped me when I was a younger player that I feel like I still need to do. And then there's other things where, you have to find a way to evolve. And and learn from, whether it's things you've done well in previous years or not done so well. And as you age, managing, your energy a little bit and, trying to find that balance. So it's just constantly learning. So I've always had that mentality, and I think that's an important one. And, when you have the passion for it, when you love it, that comes pretty easy.
I reached out to just some of your teammates, said I was going to be talking to you today, and one of them said, I don't know if I've ever seen him as pissed off as he was at the end of last season. What pissed off Sidney Crosby last year?
It was just such a struggle for us to find consistency. At one point, I think we won 7 in a row, and then we lost 7 in a row. And I think as a guy that's been in different situations to get into the playoffs, I've been in the situation where you're first all year and you just ride that into the playoffs. And then, the year that we won in 16, it was like we were out of the playoffs and then went on a great run and had momentum going in and just caught fire. This was a new situation for us. We were kind of chasing it right from early on, but we had put ourselves in a spot to get in. It wasn't like it was a miracle we needed. We needed to win our last 2 games, and to go through all that, all the ups and downs, and to be in a position to get in and not be able to find a way. That's something we had done in years past, and we didn't do it this time. So that was frustrating. And, there's nothing better than playing the playoffs. At this point, that's the most exciting thing. You get up for the matchups throughout the regular season and you have that motivation, but playoff hockey is just, that's why you play. You just crave that, atmosphere, that environment, and the opportunity to win the Stanley Cup.
Last one for me. I just want, there's someone who said to me that they really think that what the NHL needs is you and Connor McDavid on the same team playing for Team Canada. That's what this sport badly needs. And I wanted to ask you what you thought about that.
Yeah, any opportunity we can get to play for Canada, and he's mentioned it a ton of times with best on best, seeing all the other countries. You look at their lineups. It's pretty tight. There's no real favored team. It's easy to say Canada because we've had success at the Olympics and that sort of thing. But the hockey is incredible, and from my experience, it doesn't really get any better than that when you're looking at the lineups and you're looking at the players that are assembled, and any opportunity I can get. And it's too bad it hasn't worked out for a while here, but it's looking like that could change. So that'd be awesome.
Who moves to the wing?
I'll go there.
No. You're supposed to say he goes there. He goes there. You're supposed to say he goes there.
Listen, I've skated with him and I've played both. I think I'm good either way with playing center or wing, whatever he wants to do. He can carry the mail. I'll find the opening.
I'll find the open spot. That's right.
Let me wrap this up by asking a question about a big picture question here. One of the great things about hockey is it can be kind of vague. It's not really black and white. I am curious now that you've been in the game for so long, have an expanded vision about it. What confuses players? What confuses you about the game? What confuses your teammates about the game?
I would say maybe just suspensions. I think that, maybe, penalties are always going to be like that. We're always going to question, what we saw. It's so easy with replay. We can, dissect it. But I would say, it's still something where you see a highlight, you see a clip, and you don't know the range of a suspension. You don't know whether it's going to be a suspension or not. That's how I feel. I know it's not an easy job for anybody, but I still feel like there's a bit of a gray area there. And, I don't think anyone's ever going to agree on length or, that sort of thing, or what the intentions were on a play. That's always going to be debatable, but I'd like to think that we can get a little bit closer to, to what it is exactly, and maybe what the punishment is.
Great player, great thinker of the game. Sidney, thanks as always for stopping by.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thanks very much.
Okay.